Chapter 13. I was in the sky above watching Lizardman fighting orcs. Gabble fought courageously, his considerable nimbleness and skill with a spear as he faced off against the orc general. Sadly, though, the difference in strength between him and the orc general was just too much. Little by little, Gabble's body was being ravaged by cuts and wounds. I hated to let him die. And if that's what I thought, the answer was clear. I gave my orders. Ranga, can you shadow motion yourself to Gabble? Yes, my master. As with Soe, Ranga could directly travel to anybody he'd personally met before. Which simplified things for me, definitely. Gobda, you go there, too. Gay. Really? It's, like, a huge army there. I heard a scream of pain through the transmitted thought. Gobda was cut off for a moment, then the line came back. He will gladly accept the mission, Rimuru-sama. Now it was Shion inserting herself into my mind. I didn't know what had happened to Gobda, but I suppose I didn't need to. Great. I want you two to rescue Gabble for me. Get going. Gobda would get to Gabble first while Ranga was distracting the rest of the horde. He'd then work with the lizardmen and goblins to forge a path out of that hellhole. Rimuru-sama, Benimaru asked, are we allowed to go, all out, then? Help the lizardmen first. They need it. After that, do whatever you want. Pay attention to whatever orders Hakuro gives you, but otherwise, have at it. Yes, my lord, we will show them exactly what the ogre race, or should I say, the ogre mages can do. He sounded happy, which was good, because things were about to happen, and quickly. My orders complete, I checked on the state of the battle. It was a sight to behold. I kept up my vigil on the battlefield from above, taking in the reality unfolding on the ground. Flashes of light ran from corner to corner, blowing away dozens of orcs at once. A loud roar rumbled in the sky as a black dome-shaped something appeared, then disappeared after a few seconds and left nothing but a bunch of glass fused into the earth. All the orcs there must have been burned into nothing. I could tell what had happened easily enough, but I felt like my heart was still having trouble accepting it. Before it could, tornadoes swirled across the field, sending gale force winds in all directions and burning the orcs alive with bolts of lightning. It looked like one of the black armored orcs had either been incinerated or torn apart. My honest appraisal of all this. What the heck? With every swipe of her sword, Shion was cutting down great quantities of orcs. Her blade was glowing a dim shade of purple, infused with her aura. A flash of the same color shot through the air with every slash, cutting orcish soldiers in half with the shock waves. The sword was no kinder to those it physically struck, some literally exploded. A single slash had a range of 20 feet or so, slicing through everyone unlucky enough to be in its path. She smiled a graceful, fetching smile as she danced her way through the hordes. The attacks just kept coming, uninterrupted, and not a single orc could lay a claw on her. Her strength was simply overwhelming. But there were a couple other guys in battle that made Shion look like a rank amateur. Those were Benimaru and Ranga. Let's tackle Benimaru first. What was up with that freaky black dome thing? I had a vague idea when I first saw it, I'll admit. A combination of my control flame, dark flame, and ranged barrier, I guessed. He used a barrier to freeze the space, control flame to accelerate the particle motion inside, and then dark flame to convert the excited particles into searing flame. It'd instantly cook everything in the enclosed space, like Ifrit's flare circle except with an even larger range. It disappeared in the space of 2 seconds, but with temperatures this high, that was enough. The only real problem, I supposed, was the way he took this incredibly dangerous skill he developed it himself, I later heard, naming it Hellflare, and tossed it around with hardly a second thought, apparently. Now for the other guy, Wolf. Ranga. Transforming into a Tempest Starwolf out of nowhere was kind of freaky, I thought, but it was the skill he immediately unleashed afterward that really threw me. I suppose that was how you were supposed to use Dark Lightning, without placing any limits on it. And he even controlled the wind to enhance its effects. Dang, what was that? Less than understood. I believe the individual Ranga combined Dark Lightning with the extra skill Control Wind, taking advantage of the differences in temperature and atmospheric pressure to create bursts of up and down flowing currents, thus creating whirlwinds. Greater than. Huh, neat. I don't get it, but it looks cool. The battle had been raging for around 2 hours. Benimaru had popped off 4 of those Dark Dome attacks. Not even he could deploy them in rapid succession, but I guess they didn't sap that much of his energy. Ranga's attack, meanwhile, was proving more of a one-and-done thing. I guess he put his all into it, which explained his current comparative silence. It certainly helped cow his opponents into submission anyway. Hakuro was busy handling the commander-class enemies for me, and I would hardly call that a battle. He approached them soundlessly and diced them up in an instant. The Ravenous unique skill let the armies boost their leader's strength by consuming the dead, so making the bodies themselves vanish was apparently a priority for him, which I appreciated. Part of his model will art, maybe. I could see him release an aura from his palm, burning the corpses or melting them, really. We proceeded along those lines for a while, with me spotting an enemy commander and sending Hakuro over to erase him. We were overwhelming the orc armies, and zero cost to ourselves. I kept up my watch, trying to stay as efficient as possible. At that point in time, the orcs had suffered about 20% casualties. Over 40,000 had lost their lives. And it wasn't until then that the enemy's nerve center, the Orc Lord, finally took action. The Orc Lord came to the front. He had 2 orc generals with him, both clearly a level above the orcs from before. Their dull, yellow eyes were brimming with hatred, and I could see their auras all the way from up here. Benimaru, Shion, Hakuro, and Ranga were now lined up together to engage them. Even Soe was there, now next to Benimaru. They were clearly ready to rock. Just as I was about to touch land, teeing, there was a sharp, ear-piercing sound. As it rang in my mind, my magic sense noticed something flying toward the area at high speed aimed right at the middle of the marsh where the 2 armies were fighting away. It was a man, dressed rather oddly and with a distressingly strong aura. One of those upper-level magic-borns I'd been hearing about. I landed on the ground, following his trail, Ranga and Benimaru sidling next to me. The man gave us a sideways glance. "What in blazes is going on here?" he shouted, wearing his emotions on his sleeve. "Who dares to disrupt the plans of the great Gelmid himself?" I think I had an idea of what we were dealing with. This was the bad guy, wasn't he? I knew it, and the way he revealed who he was without anyone asking indicated he might be a bit of an idiot, too. Lord Gelmid," Gabble stammered as he ran up to him. "I never would have expected you to come to my aid at a time like this." Gelmid just looked at him the way someone would look at a giant pile of garbage. "You worthless wastes of space," he spat out at the orcs all around him. "If you had just eaten these stupid lizards and other fodder and evolved into a demon lord, then I, the great Gelmid, wouldn't have to be here right now." Well, that's kind of mean. Does he understand what he's saying, really? He means that the lizardmen and goblins were just meant to be food for the Orc Lord. Not that it matters to me, but... Wait, haven't I heard the name Gelmid before? Less than understood. He is the magic born that gave the name Rigyr to the elder brother of current Rigyr greater than. Oh right, but did he name Gabble, too, then? The lizard man himself spoke up before I could pursue the question further. "Eaten these, lizards. Ha, ha ha ha, talk about your gallows humor, You'll find I am still perfectly hale and hearty, Lord Gelmid. Ever since you granted me your name, I have done my best to exercise the full potential of my abilities." Ah, so it was him. But naming a monster just so the Orc Lord could consume him. That made an awful lot of sense, actually. Eating a named monster with enhanced skills and strength and all that, would make the Orc Lord that much more powerful. What was the talk about evolving into a demon lord? Evolve, into the demon lord. What is that? Duh, your brain must be the size of a walnut, Gelmid mustard. It seems all that prey has avoided your brain entirely and gone straight to your muscles. We are out of time. I am forbidden to meddle in this, but I have no other choice. Huh, forbidden to meddle. Sounds like he is lackey of someone after all. He turned his bloodshot eyes to Gabble now, showing an open palm. Then, without any further warning, he shouted, "Die!" and launched a bolt of magic. Why was I standing in front of him? That was an easy question because I liked him. I wanted to help him. That was the only reason, and that was all I really needed. I wasn't afraid to do whatever I wanted in life. In fact, I'd sworn it to myself. That I will enjoy my new life to the fullest. Gabble looked up at me in awe. I doubted he understood what was going on. Things had vaulted beyond what his brain could process. Don't worry, though, I don't expect any favor back. This guy here, he's just pissed me off. Bah ha ha ha, let me show you what a high-level magic born can do to you all. Time for you to die. Death March Dance. Gelmid had an expression of crazed joy. He intended to do us all in at once. The bolt, when he finally launched it, split into countless smaller bolts in the air, all arcing toward us. Each one was about as powerful as the first bolt he produced, and now tons were raining down upon us, one by one, as if forming an orderly line. Gelmid, I'm sure, was expecting us to be helpless, perishing with nowhere else to run to. Sadly, though, they didn't work on me. I slowly brought a small hand forward, and that was all it took to absorb all the bolts with my predator skill. A quick round of analysis produced instant results. This wasn't magic, but an art one where he could roll his aura energy together, mix it with magicals, and give it destructive power. Hey, I said, is that all you got? You want me to die, just with that? Maybe you could give me a demonstration in how to die first. No, what is that you're? He began shaking fearsomely. I sent a water blade his way. He tried to dodge, but the speed of it caught him off guard, cutting a deep gash in his side. Gelmid began chanting a spell, fervently attempting to heal himself. Wow, he's got that kinda thing, huh? He looked like a freak, but maybe he was more multi-talented than I thought. All right, he said. I will let you join my cause. Soon, I will. I punched him. Does he listen to anything people say? Stop, wait a minute, I have the backing of a demon lord behind me. You will not get away with this. Oh, now he comes out with that. Man, what a pain in the ass. So, I asked, and what are you gonna say when you run back crying to this guy? You don't think he'd actually let you stay alive after this, do you? Gelmid began visibly shivering, face painfully tense. Gah, get away from me, he stammered the words as he crawled backward. You're dead. The demon lord will never forgive this. I quickly decided to use my sticky steel thread skill to keep Gelmid in place before he got any funny ideas. He had already been levitating into the air, chanting something, probably attempting to fly off, I assumed. But that was no problem now. Damn you, he shouted, attempting to unravel himself as I approached him silently. Stop, get away. Hey, Orc Lord, over here, help me. He probably had a lot of juicy skills on him. No need to waste any more time. But having the chance to speak to Gelmid beforehand made the thought of eating him more than a little unpleasant. Maybe I should just capture him. Gelmid, paralyzed by fear, fired bolt after bolt of magic at me, materializing them out of thin air despite having his hands restrained. A very skillful act, but it didn't help him. They harmlessly bounced off my multi-layer barrier. The bolts counted as a melee attack, I guess, so they couldn't penetrate my defense at all. I knew that from my previous analysis, so I knew I no longer had to bother predatoring them. The former sneer on his face was replaced with a gasp of despair. Damn it, he shouted. Help me, Orc Lord, I mean, Geld. So he had named the guy after all. I suppose he wanted to conceal his relationship to the Orc Lord, for reasons I couldn't surmise. He said he was forbidden to meddle before, which I imagined had something to do with it. That, at long last, stirred the Orc Lord to action. Did he want to help Gelmid? Well, all right, he was free to do whatever. I promised Trainee that I'd take him out anyway. It looked, externally speaking, that he was little more than Gelmud's puppet, but I didn't care. It wasn't like picking off the guy behind the scenes was gonna neatly end all of this. I had no reason to hate this orc. But that didn't mean I could let him live. Well, it's about time you stood up, you good-for-nothing idiot. Ha ha ha, I don't know who you think you are, but you're about to get a taste of real strength. Get him, Geld, show him what it means to defy me. And with a wet, squishy-sounding thud, Gelmud's order was cut off mid-sentence. His head rolled along the saturated ground a few feet. The Orc Lord had done a marvelous, if somewhat forceful, job of chopping it right off his shoulders. Crunch, splish, splorch. Ugh, gross, he's eating the dude. The Orc Lord, upon walking up to Gelmid, had not hesitated a moment in using his meat cleaver-like weapon to decapitate the man. Once that was done, he started to slash away, carving the body into small, bite-sized pieces that he immediately hurled into his mouth. It was a low-born, pathetic, and all too suitable ending for Gelmid. The dull, yellow eyes now had the glint of youth and intelligence to them. He had regained his sentience, something he had once lost to the power he gained from all the different races he had tasted. I wasn't anticipating this. Talk about biting the hand that feeds you. The resulting aura was like nothing I had experienced so far today. Less than confirmed. The Orc Lord's magical energy has expanded in quantity. He has begun the evolution process to a Demon Lord seed. Evolution complete. The individual Geld has completed the evolution to an Orc disaster. Greater than. Ooh, that was the world language talking, wasn't it? Neat. Wait, stay focused, man. Things were now moving along by themselves, regardless of what I thought. Grura, I am an orc disaster, the devourer of all. My name is Geld, the demon lord. To Geld, I suppose, he was just bringing to fruition what Gelmid wanted for him this whole time. Gelmid wanted him to become a demon lord, and he simply selected the quickest way to evolve into one. Just as Gelmid wanted, no servant could have been more loyal to his master, and I sadly didn't notice that in time. All I could do there was speak with enthusiasm. Wow, demon lord seed, I don't know what it is, but it sounds cool. His eyes were now youthful, full of sparkling energy and intelligence. His mere presence was intense, severe, on a scale like nothing Gelmid had ever achieved. This was a demon lord. A monster whose magic energy had multiplied into something almost overwhelming. He certainly deserved the title. The world language suggested this was a demon lord seed, the real evolution had yet to happen, maybe. Benimaru and the other ogres were positioned for battle. They could see how much of a threat the demon lord Geld was. Their easygoing smiles were gone, replaced with stern, serious frowns. Rimuru-sama, Benimaru said, let us handle this. Xian, meanwhile, didn't even bother to speak. With a flash, she whipped out her large sword and swung it home, putting all her strength behind it, enhanced further by the extra skill steel strength and strengthened body. Geld attempted to block it with one meat cleaver-equipped hand. Even for him, it wasn't quite enough. He brought up his right hand now, too, doing his best to resist Xian's incessant attack. You think some dirty pig can be a demon lord? Xian shouted as she landed another strike from up high. Don't you dare believe that. Kurobe's expertly crafted blade now had a visible aura around it, as it landed with a dull thud against the demon lord's body. Both took a step back before clashing once more. Long's word slammed against cleaver, raining sparks upon the battlefield. It looked like an even match, but before long, the differences between the two became clear. Every muscle on Geld bulged, his very armor pulsing as if it were part of his body. It was the demon lord who won out in the end. His muscles outclassed Xian's, even with strength and body and all of that. Xian was tossed back, and Geld pursued her. Realizing the danger, she attempted to deflect the blow while leaping backward to reduce the impact. The damage upon her was clear nonetheless. She winced in pain. It'd be a while before she was ready to move again. But Xian wasn't the only one here. As Geld landed the follow-up attack, a middle-aged samurai stood strong behind him. It was Hakuro, and with a speed most people couldn't even see him, he drew his sword from the staff it was hidden in. The blade glowed with a constant light, energized by the battle force housed inside the wielder. Its brightness indicated exactly how focused Hakuro was on this. No one could block or dodge him now. A streak of metal ran across the demon lord's body, cutting it cleanly in half and even slicing off the head on the way back up. Geld's body reconnected itself, thanks to a yellowish aura that regrouped all the parts with tentacle-like tendrils. The completed body then leaned down, grabbed its head off the ground, and reattached it like nothing was amiss. The horror movie-like scene silenced everyone for a moment. Even Hakuro was obviously surprised. Then, demon wire bind. Soe used his sticky steel thread to apprehend Geld. He had been lurking within Hakuro's shadow, waiting for the perfect timing to restrain the demon lord's moves. Get him, Benimaru, he shouted. Benimaru was already on the move, suddenly unleashing a hellflare strike. Only a small dome opened around Geld. Whether he was deliberately keeping it small or was short on energy after deploying 4 of them, I didn't know. Geld, restrained, had no means of escape from the barrier as it became engulfed in high-temperature flames, doing their level best to incinerate the demon lord. The power of the heat was unaffected by the size of the dome, giving us a guaranteed death. Or so we thought. Several seconds later, the dome was gone and Geld was just casually standing there. Benimaru grimaced at the sight. Hellflare was a powerful move, yes, but it was designed for efficiency. It was focused on doing its deed within only a couple seconds. It was incapable of keeping the burners on for extended periods of time like Ifrit could. It wasn't wholly ineffective, though. Geld had no heat resistance, his skin was burned horribly. The resistance his aura offered was all that kept it from being a lethal blow. He had probably gained something along the lines of self-regeneration, like what I had in slime form. The burned skin was already sloughing off, with new skin being generated from underneath. And the moment Geld whispered something, he began to heal quicker than ever. The battle continued as I watched and analyzed. Ranga aimed an extra strike at Geld before he could fully heal from Benimaru's damage. He focused his dark lightning on a single point and released it, much as I had before. Nothing fancy, just a killer amount of force. It hit Geld directly, freezing him. He was burned and blackened, and as we watched, he fell to the ground. Then I heard something. So this is pain. The blackened, charred demon lord was back on his feet. Guess not. Then, before my eyes, the demon lord had just ripped off both his arms and eaten them. An orc general ran up to him. My lord, let my body join yours. They nodded at each other, and that was that. The orc general was killed, then casually cannibalized. Man, and with every bite, that charred skin fell away, revealing yet another fresh layer underneath. Then he grew entirely new arms, driven by the muscle and fiber gained from what he consumed. He could use that to cast self-regeneration on himself as many times as he wanted, I imagined. Then the demon lord let out a guttural battle roar. Not enough, he screamed, his yellow aura coursing across his body. More, let me eat more. Consume them all. Chaos Eater. Like sentient tendrils, the yellow aura extended its way toward the nearby piles of bodies. They instantly corroded their flesh, consuming them whole. If anything, it was this yellow aura that was the true driver behind Geld's power. Was another application of his unique ravenous skill. Part of that skill involved rot something that could literally rot anything that it made contact with. If the target failed to resist it, it was corroded and killed if it was organic. Fearsome indeed. Instinctively sensing all this, I ordered my troops to retreat. Fall back. The moment I did, the ogres stepped back. Tell Gobta and the lizardmen not to come near here. What about you, Rimuru-sama? Benimaru asked. I opened my mouth to reply. I was cut off. You will become my next meal. Die. Death March Dance. The same attack Gelmud tried out earlier. But now it was much more of a punisher. Not only was far more energy packed into it, but each tiny magic bolt had rot added to it. Get hit by one, and even the ogres would be gravely hurt. Flurry of magical bolts flung themselves toward me. I used Predator to consume them, and then the tendrils of yellow wrapped themselves around me. I took out my sword, the yellow aura still around me. I didn't like that aura, but it wasn't dealing me much damage. I didn't have resist rot in my arsenal, but it must have been dealing melee damage. Upon me nothing I couldn't cover for with ultra-speed regeneration. It's getting boring, so all I needed was a single order to end his life. Alright, Raphael, smash that foe for me. Less than received. Switching to auto battle mode. Greater than, and there was my answer. With the full support of the Raphael ultimate skill, I can now fight with my skills at maximum efficiency. I can make complete use of them, but it wasn't because I had leveled up or anything. I wasn't fighting so much as I was letting the Raphael do the fighting for me. It was a totally optimized approach, leaving everything to good old Raphael. Just as I figured, it demonstrated perfect mastery of my skills. The moment auto battle mode was activated, my body took its adult form, and Raphael's sword in hand took stance. That is. Hakuro tried to speak but words didn't come out of his mouth. A few droplets of sweat trickled down his forehead. And then words came out from my mouth. It wasn't me but Raphael. 16 blooming petals. It was a skill which delivers devastating strikes in the form of a 16-sword flash that transcend the speed of double cherry blossoms, 8 petals flash. The skill I copied from Hakuro was double cherry blossoms, 8 petals flash, in which the user attacks the target's eyes, throat, heart, kidneys, lungs, and groin with 8 consecutive and near-instant slashes. Even though I copied it, I can't use it properly without practice, but Raphael went step ahead and modified it to give a double effect. After the moment Raphael unleashed that move, mine or Raphael's blade slashed 16 times, like a multi-layered cherry blossom shedding its buds, faster than any regular person could see. And the next moment Geld's body was cut in 16 pieces. Everyone, including Hakuro, looked at me, mouth agape. I was certain this killed him. But to my surprise Geld's body started to reconnect itself, thanks to a yellowish aura that was regrouping all the parts with tentacle-like tendrils. But before he could completely regenerate, I took back control of my body and started using Predator on his body. Then suddenly I started to hear the strangest voice. I can't afford to lose. If I die, I leave the sins of my crimes to my comrades. I don't mind if I, alone, am sinful. I did whatever was needed to avoid starvation. I will become a demon lord. I will accept all the hunger in the world. So no one else has to feel this famine. I know I can. I am an orc disaster. The consumer of all. And you're still gonna die. But don't worry. I'll eat up all those crimes for you. You, what? Eat? My crimes? And not just yours. I'll eat the crimes of all your friends, too. The crimes of all my friends. How greedy of you. You think so? Yeah, I am greedy. Does that make you feel better? If it does, then just rest a bit and let me eat you already. Ah, I couldn't afford to lose. But, I am tired. It is warm in here. Greedy one, you know there will be no tranquility down the road you travel. But you are still willing to take on my crimes. I thank you. My hunger is sated. He was Geld, the orc disaster. And now, his consciousness had vanished within me. Less than confirmed. The orc disaster has disappeared. The unique skill Ravenous has been absorbed and merged with the unique skill Predator. Greater than. Good job Raphael. Raphael is the best skill I could ask for. It feels like it is too good of a skill for bum like me. Less than negative. I exist only for the sake of my master. Greater than. Huh, for some reason it felt like my heart skipped a beat. It probably happened because I was touched by her instant reply. Thanks Raphael. Keep up the good work, partner. I opened my eyes, carrying the weight of him and all his orcish comrades on my back. In the quiet, I declared my victory. I have won, I said. Rest in peace, Orc Disaster Geld. The war finally ended with the death of Orc Disaster Geld. The next day there was a very important meeting, one that would go down in history as the one that established the Great Forest of Jura Alliance. To be continued.